Welcome back, everyone, to Wisdom Unveiled. For episode 29, we're continuing our journey through Dr. Dhanani and Dr. Laurijani's Marfat conversations.
Yeah.
And just a quick note, as always, before we begin, these are translated conversations with Iranian philosophers, so we might miss some nuances along the way, and we apologize for any discrepancies that might come up.
Of course, of course.
Okay, so last time we were talking about, Rumi's focus on life as a journey, not just about the destination.
Right.
But he doesn't stop there. He digs even deeper, asking, what is the path I took to arrive here? And this is where it gets interesting, right? He's not talking about like a physical path.
No, definitely not. It's more an invitation to look inward, a reflection on everything that's brought us to this very point. The choices we've made, the challenges we've overcome, the moments that have shaped who we are.
Yeah.
It's like taking out a map and tracing the lines that led us to exactly where we are.
I love that. That's such a cool image.
Right.
And Dr. Dhanani makes a great point, right? It's not about getting stuck in the past, but using it as a compass.
Absolutely.
And to see where we are now and where we might want to go next.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing those past experiences, both positive and negative, and how they guide us toward a more fulfilling life.
Yeah. Okay, so we're starting to understand this idea of the path we've taken. But Rumi also talks about something that pretty much comes up on any journey, right?
Yeah.
Sorrow.
Right.
He acknowledges it's part of life. No matter how wise, no matter how successful we become, there's going to be sorrow.
Right. Both Dr. Dhanani and Dr. Laurijani really emphasize this point. Sorrow is woven into the fabric of being human. It's just a fundamental part of the human experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets interesting, I think. He doesn't say we should avoid sorrow.
Right.
He says we should see it as essential for growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sees it as a necessary part of life, just like you can't appreciate the light without experiencing some darkness.
And Dr. Laurijani even suggests a way to kind of navigate those dark times.
Yeah.
Practicing gratitude. It can help us see the good, even when we're surrounded by difficulty.
It's about finding that balance, accepting the good with the bad, and realizing they both contribute to this rich and meaningful life.
This whole discussion kind of makes me think of Baqā, the garden of permanence Rumi describes, right?
Yeah.
This place that's free from all imperfections and fleeting desires.
Right.
But it can't be a place we just book a flight to, right?
No, definitely not. It's not about physical travel at all. It's
Yeah.
about an internal shift. Detaching from those temporary desires that never truly satisfy.
Okay, so it's like we're stuck on this treadmill, always chasing the next thing, but never really reaching contentment.
Absolutely. Dr. Dhanani explains how this constant chasing actually fuels this inner turmoil. And detachment, on the other hand, really shifts our focus. Instead of just fleeting pleasures, we start seeking out those things that bring lasting fulfillment.
So it's not about denying our desires, but understanding them,
Exactly.
and making conscious choices that lead to genuine happiness.
Precisely. And to kind of dive deeper into this, we need to look at Rumi's hierarchy of existence.
Okay.
He talks about God, the universal intellect, the soul, and then nature, like the physical realm.
Okay, I'm with you so far, but help me out here. Where do we fit into this intricate picture?
So Rumi sees the soul as this bridge between the intellect and the physical world. And we have a choice, right?
Okay.
Do we get caught up in the material world, or do we use our intellect to elevate our soul toward a higher purpose, toward the divine?
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like we have this inner compass, and it can either point us towards those fleeting material things, or it can guide us towards something much bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. And Dr. Laurijani really drives home the point that recognizing this choice, this is the first step in breaking free from that cycle of desire and sorrow.
And he says true fulfillment comes from connecting to something beyond our individual ego, something larger than ourselves.
Yes. And Rumi describes this shift so beautifully. He writes, "Take 2 steps forward from the abode of desires, you'll descend into the sanctuary of majesty."
Okay.
But I'm curious, what are those 2 steps?
Right. How do we move from desire to the sanctuary?
That's a great question. Well, Dr. Dhanani suggests that the first step is recognizing the truth. This idea that constantly chasing desires won't bring real happiness. It's an endless cycle, right? We have to realize there's more to life than accumulating external things.
Okay.
The second step is about detaching from those desires through intellectual reflection.
Okay.
Not about suppressing them entirely, but understanding their nature and choosing to focus on what truly enriches our lives.
So instead of blindly following those desires, we use our intellect to make choices that are more in line with a higher purpose.
That's it.
A purpose that resonates with our soul.
Yeah. And Dr. Lariani brings up a beautiful term that describes the result of this shift.
Okay.
Mua.
Yeah.
He describes it as a state of peace and solace that comes from detaching from those fleeting desires. It's where anxiety kind of loses its grip and you find a deep sense of contentment.
Okay. So it's not just about escaping sorrow, but about achieving, like, genuine well-being.
Exactly.
And Dr. Denani emphasizes how important the intellect is in this whole process.
Yes.
He even says that even if we achieved all of our desires without a nurtured intellect, true happiness would still elude us.
Right.
He compares it to having a powerful car with no one behind the wheel.
Exactly. It's like having all that power but lacking the knowledge and skill to really handle it.
Yeah.
You might end up lost or even causing harm.
Right. So without a clear mind and a focused intellect, we might chase things that don't actually serve us, even if they look appealing at first.
Yeah. Rumi puts it this way. The jewel within the ocean of meaning. You can determine its worth if you reflect deeply. Dr. Larijani points out, we're often so good at understanding the value of material things, but we forget to assess the worth of our own being.
It's like we get so caught up in external validation that we forget to look inward and recognize our own inherent value and potential.
Absolutely. And Dr. Denani connects this to the idea of hakutu from the Quran.
Oh.
He emphasizes how important self-knowledge is for living a righteous life.
Okay.
It's about understanding our true nature, our strengths, our weaknesses.
So it's about living authentically.
Absolutely.
Not just accumulating knowledge or chasing those external things.
Exactly. To illustrate the dangers of these unchecked desires, Rumi uses a really powerful metaphor.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
A seven-headed dragon.
A dragon? Wow, that sounds intense. Tell me more.
Right. This dragon represents those base desires that can really lead us astray. Each of its 7 heads symbolizes a different desire. The 5 senses, harmful imagination, and delusion. These are the things that tempt us off the path, that hinder our growth.
So they pull us away from living fulfilling lives. Lives that are aligned with our true purpose.
Yes, and Rumi calls these paths to hellish states.
Okay.
He's warning us about getting caught up in those fleeting pleasures and harmful desires.
But then he talks about the 8 gates of paradise.
Right.
And he identifies the intellect as the 8th gate.
Yes.
What does that tell us?
It's like our intellect is the key. By nurturing our intellect, we can choose what's truly beneficial and we can avoid what leads to suffering. Unlock those gates to paradise and kind of close those pathways to the hellish states that he described. It's about nourishing our minds with wisdom and using it as fuel to propel ourselves toward a more fulfilling life.
It's not about passively accepting whatever desires pop up, but actively engaging our intellect
Absolutely.
to shape a life that aligns with our values and aspirations.
Right. And this is where Rumi's emphasis on self-knowledge and reflection becomes crucial.
Okay.
It's about constantly examining our thoughts, our motivations, our actions to make sure we're on track.
Yeah.
It's a continuous process of growth and refinement.
Okay, so we have this incredible power within us.
Yes.
Our intellect.
Yes.
And by tapping into it, we can navigate life's complexities and reach our full potential.
Exactly. And Rumi's teachings really offer a roadmap for unlocking that power and creating a life filled with purpose, meaning, and joy.
What stands out to you most from everything we've talked about so far?
What really resonates with me is Rumi's focus on the journey itself. It's not just about achieving goals or reaching destinations, but about being fully present in our experiences and using them as opportunities for growth.
I see what you mean.
Mm.
And I also appreciate how he encourages us to embrace sorrow, as a catalyst for understanding and appreciation.
Yeah.
It's about finding that balance between light and shadow,
Yeah.
recognizing that they both contribute to the richness of life.
Absolutely. And Rumi's concept of mua is so inspiring.
Yeah.
Just a reminder that true peace comes from within, and it can be cultivated through conscious effort and reflection.
Yeah, these are all excellent points. And what's fascinating is how these ideas, right?
Yeah.
The journey, embracing sorrow, mua, they all point back to the central role of the intellect in finding true fulfillment.
Mm.
It's like it's the compass and the map and the engine all in one.
It's a powerful force, that's for sure. And this leads us to Rumi's unique perspective on love. It's something much deeper and more profound than what we often see in movies or read in romance novels. He's not just talking about romance, he's talking about a universal principle.
Okay, I'm intrigued. I'm ready to hear more about Rumi's perspective on love.
So Dr. Larijani describes it as a force that binds all of creation together. It's not limited to romantic love, but it encompasses everything.
Wow.
He compares it to Agapian Greek philosophy, that unconditional, all-encompassing love that transcends boundaries.
Yeah, it's incredible. Unconditional love, embracing everything and everyone. It's such a beautiful concept, but it also feels challenging to wrap my head around,
Yeah.
especially in a world that often feels so divided. How do we even begin to cultivate that kind of love in our lives?
Right. Well, it's a beautiful question and one that Dr. Denani tackles head on. He suggests that it all starts with ourselves, really. Before we can even begin to offer love outward, we need to cultivate self-love, self-acceptance, self-compassion.
Yeah, makes you think of that saying, right? You
Yeah.
can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
If we're constantly beating ourselves up, how can we possibly offer genuine love to anyone else?
Exactly. And Dr. Lorijani builds on that point, emphasizing that self-love isn't just about feeling good about ourselves.
Okay.
It's about taking responsibility for our own well-being,
Sure.
nurturing our physical, emotional, and spiritual health. It's about building that solid foundation of love and respect within ourselves.
So it's about treating ourselves with the same kindness and care that we would offer to someone we love deeply.
Precisely. And the amazing thing, as Dr. Denani explains, is that when we cultivate genuine self-love, it naturally starts to extend outwards. First to the people around us, and then ultimately to all beings. It's like this ripple effect, starting with us, and then expanding outwards, touching and transforming everything in its path.
That image is so powerful. It reminds me of the idea of being the change you want to see in the world, right?
Mhm.
It all starts with each of us.
Absolutely. And this brings up another important point that Dr. Lorijani emphasizes. Rumi wasn't just this poet sitting in an ivory tower. He was a scholar, a jurist, a teacher who was deeply involved in the world around him.
So he wasn't just theorizing about love and transformation. He was actively trying to make a difference in people's lives.
Exactly. He lived his teachings. And Dr. Denani takes it a step further, suggesting that contemplation without action is incomplete.
Right.
We need to put that love into practice, embody it in our actions and how we treat others.
It's not enough to just have these beautiful ideas swirling around in our heads, right?
Yeah.
We have to bring them into the world through our deeds.
That's what makes Rumi's teachings so powerful, wouldn't you say? They're not just theoretical concepts, they're a call to action, a guide for living a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
I completely agree. And I think it's fascinating how he connects seemingly disparate ideas, right?
Yeah.
Like self-love, action, and universal love.
Yeah.
It's like they all weave together to create this incredible tapestry of a meaningful life.
Yes. And what's truly remarkable is that Rumi's wisdom transcends time and place. Even though his teachings are rooted in a specific tradition, they resonate with people from all walks of life, even centuries later.
That's why we keep coming back to Rumi. His insights offer these timeless truths that speak to the human experience in a way that feels both profound and deeply personal.
Speaking of insights, Dr. Larijani shares an anecdote that beautifully illustrates Rumi's insatiable thirst for knowledge.
Okay.
He tells the story of a scholar who approached Rumi seeking knowledge. But before imparting any wisdom, Rumi asked the scholar to empty his cup.
Wow, what a powerful metaphor. It's about letting go of preconceived notions, creating space for new understanding.
Right.
You can't fill a cup that's already full.
Right. And Dr. Denani highlights how this emptying of the cup is essential for growth.
Okay.
It's about constantly questioning our assumptions, challenging our beliefs, and being open to expanding our understanding of the world.
Yeah, it's so easy to get stuck in our own limited perspectives, clinging to beliefs that may no longer serve us.
Absolutely.
We have to be willing to let go of what we think we know in order to make room for new possibilities and deeper insights.
Exactly. And this openness to new possibilities brings us to another crucial aspect of Rumi's teachings. True knowledge isn't just about intellectual understanding.
Okay.
It's about a transformative experience.
It's like the difference between reading about a beautiful place and actually traveling there and experiencing it firsthand.
That's a fantastic analogy. Dr. Denani makes a similar comparison using the example of fire. You can study fire, understand its properties, but until you feel its warmth, you don't truly grasp its essence.
So it's about going beyond the theoretical and moving into the realm of experience. It's about allowing knowledge to become a living, breathing reality that transforms us from the inside out.
And this is where I find Rumi's emphasis on love, particularly love for the divine, becomes so vital. He's not just encouraging us to think about these concepts,
Okay.
but to actually experience them, to feel them, to allow them to transform us at the deepest level.
Rumi was such a powerful advocate for embodying these teachings, for putting them into practice in the real world.
Dr. Loriani is right to remind us that Rumi didn't believe in simply meditating in a cave. He believed in actively engaging with the world, in using his wisdom and insights to serve others and make the world a better place.
So for Rumi, love wasn't just this abstract idea, it was a driving force,
Yes.
a motivation for taking action, connecting with others, and contributing to something larger than ourselves.
Yes. And Dr. Janani brings up a really important point that resonates with that idea of action.
Okay.
He emphasizes the importance of seeking guidance from those who have already walked the path.
Okay.
We don't have to figure everything out on our own. There are teachers, mentors, wise beings who can help illuminate the way and help us avoid those unnecessary pitfalls.
It's like having a map and a compass when you're venturing into unknown territory. A guide can help us navigate those challenges and discover those hidden treasures along the way.
Exactly. And Dr. Larijani adds that a true teacher isn't just there to give you information.
Oh.
They inspire you to awaken your own inner wisdom, to discover the truth for yourself.
So it's not about blindly following someone else's teachings, but about using them as a catalyst to ignite our own inner flame.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And that inner flame, that spark of divinity that resides within each of us, is something that Rumi constantly emphasizes. He wants us to remember that we're not separate from the divine, but rather a part of it.
He writes, "There is a fountain inside you. Don't walk around with an empty bucket." It's a powerful reminder that we have access to this infinite source of wisdom and love within ourselves.
And Dr. Ghinani suggests that some of the ways we can tap into that inner fountain are through practices like meditation, contemplation, and chanting. These practices can help us quiet the mind, connect with our hearts, and access that deeper level of awareness where we can glimpse the divine.
So it's about taking those ideas from the page and bringing them into our lived experience. It's about engaging in those practices that allow us to connect with the truth of Rumi's words in a direct and personal way.
Yes, and as we cultivate that inner connection with the divine, Dr. Larijani reminds us, it naturally starts to overflow into our interactions with others. We start to see the world with more compassion and understanding, and our actions begin to reflect that shift.
It's like that ripple effect we were talking about earlier. As we transform ourselves, we transform the world around us.
Exactly. And that leads us back to one of the most profound ideas that emerges from Rumi's teachings, the interconnectedness of everything. Dr. Dhanani describes it as this cosmic dance where every thought, every action, every feeling creates ripples that affect the entire web of existence.
It's a humbling thought, isn't it? We're not just isolated individuals. We're part of this intricate and interconnected tapestry of life. The way we choose to live our lives matters. Our choices have consequences, not just for ourselves, but for the whole.
I think that awareness is what Rumi is inviting us to cultivate. He's calling us to live with more intention, to recognize that when we act with love, kindness, and compassion, we're not just benefiting ourselves, but contributing to a more harmonious and loving world.
And that sense of harmony, that feeling of connection, is something that's so needed in the world today.
Absolutely. And it's something that's accessible to each and every one of us through the cultivation of self-love, through acting with intention, through recognizing our interconnectedness, and through actively seeking out the wisdom of those who have walked the path before us.
These are all themes that run through Rumi's teachings. It's like he's offering us a roadmap for living a more fulfilling, meaningful, and joyful life. A life that's in harmony with ourselves, with others, and with the divine.
Yes, and I think what makes his teachings so enduring is that they're not just about reaching some distant destination, but about transforming the journey itself. It's about recognizing that the present moment, this very breath, is where the magic happens.
And that's a beautiful place to pause and reflect on everything we've explored so far.
It really is. It feels like we've been on this journey with Rumi, exploring the paths we've taken, the role of sorrow, the pursuit of inner peace, seeking guidance. It's been quite a ride.
Yeah, it has. And through it all, this thread of love, it's woven throughout Rumi's teachings.
Absolutely.
This idea that love is like this ultimate driving force.
It's so fascinating how he doesn't limit love to just romantic relationships, It's a universal principle for him, this energy that connects everything.
Yeah. Dr. Lariani describes Rumi's love as this unifying force that binds all of creation together, right?
Right.
And he compares it to the concept of agape in Greek philosophy.
Yes.
That unconditional, all-encompassing love that transcends boundaries.
It's such a powerful concept, but I think one of the most challenging aspects of Rumi's teachings.
I agree.
Because in a world that often feels so divided, where do we even begin to cultivate that kind of boundless love?
Well, Dr. Dinani offers like a starting point.
Okay.
He says it all begins with ourselves, really. Before we can even think about offering love outward, we need to cultivate self-love, self-acceptance, self-compassion.
Yes, absolutely. It's like tending to our own inner garden before we can share its bounty with the world.
Exactly.
And Dr. Larijani adds that self-love isn't simply about feeling good, right? It's about recognizing our inherent worth and taking responsibility for our well-being, nurturing ourselves physically, emotionally, spiritually.
Yeah. So it's about treating ourselves with the same kindness and care that we would offer to someone we cherish deeply.
Exactly. And the amazing thing, as Dr. Dinani explains, is that as we nurture that genuine self-love, it starts to radiate outward.
Yeah.
First to those closest to us, and then ultimately to all beings.
Wow.
It's like a ripple effect, transforming everything it touches.
It makes you think about the interconnectedness we were just talking about.
Yeah. Yes.
As we transform ourselves, we contribute to the transformation of the world around us.
It's such an incredibly hopeful and empowering message, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it reminds me of another point that Dr. Larijani emphasizes. Rumi wasn't just a poet who sat in solitude, lost in contemplation. He was actively engaged in the world, living his teachings.
So he wasn't all talk. He walked the walk, too,
Exactly.
putting these ideas into practice.
And Dr. Dinani suggests that for Rumi, contemplation without action was incomplete.
Okay.
We need to embody love in our actions, in how we treat others, in how we move through the world.
It's not enough to just think about love. We have to bring it to life through our deeds,
Absolutely.
aligning our actions with our understanding.
That's what makes Rumi's teachings so powerful. They're not just theoretical concepts, but a call to action.
A guide for living a more meaningful life.
Exactly.
And it's fascinating how he weaves together these seemingly disparate ideas,
Yes.
self-love, action, universal love, and they all contribute to a more meaningful life.
His wisdom is so timeless and relevant.
It really is. And it speaks to something deep within the human experience, I think.
It does. Before we wrap up our deep dive into Rumi's world, I wanted to share one last anecdote from Dr. Larijani.
Yeah.
It beautifully illustrates Rumi's thirst for knowledge, He tells a story about a scholar who approached Rumi seeking wisdom.
Okay.
But before imparting any knowledge, Rumi asked the scholar to empty his cup.
That is such a great metaphor. Letting go of preconceived notions and making space for new understanding. You can't pour anything into a cup that's already full.
Exactly. And Dr. Dinani emphasizes this process of emptying the cup. It's essential for growth.
I see that.
Questioning our assumptions, challenging our beliefs, being open to expanding our understanding. It's easy to get caught up in our limited perspectives, clinging to beliefs that maybe no longer serve us.
Right. We have to be willing to let go of what we think we know to embrace new possibilities, deeper truths.
Exactly. And this openness to new possibilities, I think, is what makes Rumi's teachings so enduring. They're an invitation to a lifelong journey of exploration and discovery.
And even though our deep dive into Rumi's world is coming to an end, for today, this is really just the beginning, right?
It is.
His work is a wellspring of wisdom,
Absolutely.
offering guidance and inspiration for those who are seeking to live a more meaningful life.
Rumi reminds us that the path to true fulfillment lies not in reaching some distant destination, but in transforming the journey itself.
It's about recognizing that this present moment, this breath, this is where the magic unfolds.
It is.
It's where we find the opportunity to embody love, to act with intention, and to connect with that spark of divinity within ourselves and all beings.
As we say goodbye for now, we encourage you to keep exploring Rumi's work. Let his words nourish your heart and allow his wisdom to illuminate your path.
Keep seeking, keep questioning, keep growing, and as Rumi said, let the beauty of what you love be what you do. Until next time on Wisdom Unveiled, may Rumi's wisdom continue to light your way.